Right, this is not so much a tutorial, but how I did it video, if you like. And what I'm going to do is show you how I use GeoControl 2 to generate a height map which I can use in the Esenthel engine. So it's not a tutorial about GeoControl, but I thought I'd just quickly make the terrain in here so you can see how I did it. So I'm on I've set it at 512 for now. The thing about GeoControl, it really seems to be geared towards the 4096 in size, but it does take a long time to generate them. So I'm going to create a very basic one at 512 before I do like a final render. So I'm going to put a grid on so I can see where we are, and I'm going to basically, I don't want my players to fall off the edge of the world, so I'm going to do sort of like a desert with mountains all the way around it. So I'll draw it and then you can see what occurs. So literally I'm just going to go around like this. It might seem like I'm making a boring ISO line. It's at 3000 meters, but it's got randomness in here, so it will look okay. So I'll just quickly generate that. 512 might be a bit slow as well. I might do 256 instead. There we go. So we've got if I look at the 3D version, we've got this we've got our players penned in, if you like, with some terrain. So I'm going to go to ISO line, and that was ISO line 1. Alright, we'll do the same with this one as well. We could, which is just another range of mountains really. You don't have to be straight lines. Go for another generate. So now we've got some interesting shapes. I quite like this. I can imagine, because this is going to form part of a world, that this is going to be a desert in here, and you may sort of come around here to exit to another area of the map. I'm just looking to see if there's any places where players could escape, and I don't think there is. So we've got an interesting shape. It's a bit thin there. So what I think I might do is add a bit of a line here. I don't want it to be quite like that. I might put another line there. I'm just looking for thin areas. I'll put a line there. Sorry about this, it usually creates a better. I'm running this on quite a fast machine. If you're running this on an older machine, you might want to do it in as 256 instead of 512. Right, that looks better. We've seen, yeah, it seems to be okay. We've lost a lot of real estate though over here. But anyway, this is just an example. It's not a perfect example. So what I'm going to do now is generate it in 4096, and I will pause the video at this point and pick it up when it's generated, because it'll take a couple of minutes. Right, it's generated the terrain at the higher resolution, and this is, you know, it is a higher resolution. It's too high for a game, really. When it might look nice, but when you're running over all these tiny little humps with your man, it's not. So a lot of this is going to have to be smoothed out, but it's more getting the general shape. It's going to be a sort of a much reduced resolution when we get it in the game. So I'm going to export this as a TIFF grayscale, and I'm going to call it, since I've been making canyons all the time, Canyon 3 4096.tiff. Save. We've basically finished with this now, but we'll just fix GeoControl Canyon 3, open. So I've got the canyon in here as a height map, and it's massive. It's 4096. Now what I do in Photoshop is I do image adjustments, auto levels, and that just differentiates it a bit better. And then what we're going to do now is I'm going to chop this into 4 separate images, and for that I've set a fixed size of, don't ask me why, 2048, which is 25% of this. Control C to copy. I'm going to go file new. I'm going to do canyon 3 underscore TL for top left. Okay. Paste that in there. Get the other corner. I've got snap on, so it's it. File new. 3 top right. Okay. Paste that in. The bottom one. Right. So we've got these now. Trying to remember what I do next. So this is our canyon. I'm going to reduce these in size. Do I reduce this in size? Yes. So 1024. Trying to remember exactly how I do it, as I've only just sort of developed this workflow. So we've got these 4 images. I'm going to just save these off as images. That's JPEGs. high. As I say, we're not going to get the same resolution. As I say, it's quite small. And I'm sure some people on the Esenthel forums will advise me where I've gone wrong. Which is part of the reason I'm making this video. So right, we've got that. So world editor, world, new world. I've got this set it as 1 to 8, like that. Okay, and I'm going to change height map, increase selection size. Oops. I don't know about that big. Let's say I largely don't know what I'm doing, but I'm learning. So the first thing, I want to import a height map, and over on my other screen over here I've got my my images open. Graphics, Heightmaps. I'm looking for. I'm going to set this as 0, 0, which is like the top left. So I want the top left Canyon 3 TL. Drag it and drop it onto there. I've been changing this to 1 to 8. That to size. And clicking apply. I think I've got my screen twiddled around. But anyway, as you can see, it's imported the height map, and its resolution is reduced, and we're pleased about that, because we're not sort of creating a real world, and terrains need to be relatively low resolution, and as long as we've got the shape and it looks like some mountains, we're quite happy. So I'm going to change this now to do the top right, which is just 5, 0. Drag the top right image in, apply, and we've got a little. I'll just put my thumb on control as I slide along here. We've got a little ridge thing going on here, and we can tidy that up with the tools that's in Esenthel, and it's looking okay. We knew we were going to lose some real estate up at the top there. So next we want to do bottom left, which is 0, -5. Drag the bottom left in there, which is the interesting one. I'll zoom out a bit and apply. As you can see, that it's a fair old size, this world. Your man in here, when you can put your man in a tiny little man, this is it's a big area. So we do 5 along, drag the bottom right in, bottom right image in, hit apply, and there we are. So I say there's some tidying up to do, you know, on these joins here, but basically we've got a terrain that I think players can't escape from. We've got a little world there that we can play around with. So exit that, and I'll do a save. So guys can 3. I've fiddled about with the terrain, basically smoothed a lot of it out, especially these areas here because it's all triangles, and we don't want to be basically generating terrain that you can't see, because you'll spend your time down here. So I've gone into all the little nooks and crannies, smoothing, using smooth. I've also hopefully got rid of the joins where I join the terrain up, and created some more sort of little interesting areas that I found. You know, I made a little path up to here. We could perhaps put some little camp of baddies in there or something, and it's really quite an interesting terrain. So what I'm going to do now is texture it, and no, I'm not. I've just found a seam here, which is probably a good. I can show you what I do. I try to level it first with quite a small brush. Just get the see as we've got sand dunes anyway. It's okay. Then I found that adding some noise and softening, just about see it away. I'm going to level that out because I don't want people climbing up that slope. Escaping off the map, can't be having that. I did it all in sand, which is what I should have done in the first place. Made it all sand, so it's looking quite nice, and it looks like it might be you know, a nice terrain. So now I'm going to paint it with rocks all over and a big brush. Well, mostly all over. Well, probably all over. So the plan is to do it all in rock, and then the flat bits in sand, which will hopefully highlight the rock. So I'm not much of an artist, so I just use what I can. So anyway, that's looking okay to me. It does anyway. There's a terrain. I'm going to stick a little warrior in there. A load of character, a warrior, that one. Make him a player. Zoom in, stick him in an interesting part of the map. That looks interesting in the middle. I'll try and zoom in so you can see him and press insert. And now you're beginning to get to understand the scale of this terrain we've created. So do another save. There's a tiny little man in this big world. We can play in this big world. You can get lost in that desert. So clean all, build all. Roll a cigarette while it's happening for that time. And then world, play last build, tab. I don't like third person. So we've got an interesting landscape. If we run over towards these mountains, you know, it looks like a desert. The mountains look good. It's a big area. You could do all sorts of games in this area. You could have a dune buggy racing game. You can do all sorts, and to say it's only got 2 textures, it looks quite nice. I can increase the view range a bit. That's a lot of view range actually, that. Which is 1,000 meters, so I'll reduce that down a bit. I really like this effect of the distance, you know, where they're sort of ghostly in the distance. I really like that. But it looks quite natural to me, for, you know, to my eye, and this is my workflow now. In GeoControl you can create wonderful looking mountains, not just these plateau ones, and you know, they're quite simple terrains. It might be too big, I might have done too much, I'm not sure. You guys will know better than me, but I'm happy with this quality. Man in his big pants, and you know, it's a hell of a map. You can do what you like on this map. Do some view range there as well. So that's the sort of scale we're talking here, and I think it's a good workflow. You know, I'm happy to play all sorts of games in this sort of environment, and that's my little tutorial. I'll no doubt make a better one at some point, but if you've got any comments, especially advice, post on the forum where I post this video, or on YouTube or wherever, because as I say, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I shall speak to you later. Bye.